Deep in the humid jungles of southern Mexico, where limestone temples rise like half-remembered dreams from the earth, there is a stone carving that has unsettled archaeologists, historians, and curious minds for decades. It lies not on a wall meant for public awe, but on a slab sealed inside a tomb hidden deliberate and never intended to be seen again once the stone was lowered into place. The carving is known today as the Palenque Astronaut, and it should not exist. Discovered in 1952 beneath the Temple of the Inscriptions at the ancient Maya city of Palenque, the stone lid sealed the tomb of Kainich Janab Pakal, better known as Pakal the Great. He ruled Palenque for nearly 70 years during the 7th century AD, transforming a once fractured city into one of the most sophisticated centers of Maya power. His death was marked not by simplicity, but by one of the most elaborate burials ever found in the Americas. But it was not the jade mask, the wealth of offerings, or the untouched tomb that caused unease. It was the image carved into the stone itself. At first glance, the scene feels unmistakably modern. A man reclines at an angle, as though suspended rather than resting. His hands appear to grip controls. His feet press against what look like pedals. His head tilts forward toward a complex structure of tubes, shapes, and geometric forms. Beneath him, flames or something disturbingly similar seem to burst downward. It looks less like a myth and more like a cockpit. For many who first encounter the image, the reaction is immediate and visceral. This looks like a machine. Not a metaphor, not a symbol. A machine. That reaction alone has made the Palenque Astronaut one of the most controversial artifacts in Mesoamerican archaeology. Official explanations came quickly. Scholars identified the figure as Pakal himself, depicted at the moment of death and rebirth. The apparent machine was said to be the world tree Waka San, the cosmic axis connecting the underworld, the earthly plane, and the heavens. The flames beneath him were reinterpreted as the jaws of the underworld, or symbolic roots plunging into Xibalba, the Maya realm of the dead. Above his head, what some see as equipment is explained as celestial symbolism: the sky monster, the heavens opening, the soul's ascent. In academic terms, the explanation is coherent. In emotional terms, it doesn't fully satisfy. The problem is not that symbolism is unlikely. The Maya were masters of symbolic language carved into stone. The problem is precision. This carving is unusually detailed, unusually technical, and unlike almost anything else in Maya art. Most depictions of the world tree are vertical, organic, flowing. This one is mechanical in posture, dense with components, rigid in structure. Pakal does not float or fall, he operates. Even his posture is wrong for traditional death imagery. He is not limp. He is engaged. And then there is the tomb itself. The lid was not decoration. It was never meant to be viewed by priests, citizens, or enemies. Once sealed, it disappeared into darkness for over 1,200 years. No propaganda value, no ritual performance, no audience. Who, then, was the image for? The Maya believed deeply in the afterlife, but they also believed images had power. Carvings were not just representations. They were instructions, records, and sometimes warnings. If this image was symbolic, it was symbolism meant for eternity, not interpretation. Some researchers have quietly admitted discomfort with the scene, not because it proves anything extraordinary, but because it doesn't behave like typical Maya funerary art. It breaks visual conventions. It introduces elements that feel anachronistic. And it centers the ruler not as a passive subject of cosmic forces, but as an active participant in some process. This unease created space for alternative interpretations. In the 1960s and 70s, writers outside mainstream archaeology proposed a radical idea that the carving depicts ancient technology. According to this view, Pakal is shown piloting a craft, perhaps not a spaceship in the modern sense, but a device of advanced knowledge lost to time. The flames beneath him are propulsion. The controls are real controls. The apparatus around him is machinery, not myth. Mainstream scholars rejected this outright, often dismissing it as pseudo-archaeology. Yet the image refused to go away. Part of the reason is simple. When stripped of explanation, the carving looks mechanical. Even viewers with no interest in ancient astronauts often admit that, visually, the resemblance is unsettling. The human brain is excellent at recognizing patterns, and the pattern here feels intentional. Another reason is the cultural context of Palenque itself. This was not a primitive society. The Maya possessed advanced mathematics, including the concept of zero. They charted planetary movements with astonishing accuracy. They aligned temples to solstices, equinoxes, and Venus cycles. Their calendars tracked time across vast cosmic scales. They were not strangers to the sky. Palenque's reign, in particular, was marked by an obsession with lineage, time, and cosmic legitimacy. His tomb inscriptions tie his birth and death to astronomical events. His identity was bound to celestial cycles. In that sense, depicting him in a cosmic journey makes sense. But again, the execution is strange. Why depict a journey through the cosmos as something that looks engineered rather than organic? Why show effort, interaction, and control? Then there is the matter of uniqueness. The Palenque lid stands alone. There is nothing quite like it elsewhere in Maya art. No identical scenes, no simplified versions, no repeated motif across cities. That in itself is unusual in a culture that repeated religious imagery with remarkable consistency. If this was a standard mythological scene, why does it appear only once, in the tomb of one ruler? The answer may lie not in aliens or machines, but in memory. Some historians have proposed that the carving preserves a narrative already ancient in Palenque's time, something inherited, not invented. A story from a deeper past, stylized through Maya symbolism but rooted in an experience or idea that no longer fully made sense even to the artists carving it. Over generations, meaning eroded but form remained. The Maya did not separate myth from history the way modern cultures do. Gods walked among people, ancestors became stars. Time folded back on itself. A ruler ascending into the heavens could be literal, symbolic, or both simultaneously. In that worldview, the carving does not need to depict a spaceship to feel technological. It only needs to depict something powerful that transcended ordinary life. Still, the image waits. It does not explain itself. It does not label its components. It does not apologize for its ambiguity. It simply exists, sealed in stone, daring the viewer to decide whether the discomfort comes from misunderstanding the Maya or from underestimating them. When the tomb was opened in 1952, light touched that carving for the first time since the early Middle Ages. The world had changed beyond recognition. Rockets pierced the sky. Humans spoke openly of space travel. Machines had become extensions of the body. And there, in a jungle tomb, was a king carved in stone, reclining in something that looked eerily familiar. Coincidence? Symbolism? Projection? Perhaps. Or perhaps the past is not as silent as we assume. Perhaps some images survive not to explain history, but to test the limits of what we are willing to believe about it. The Palenque astronaut does not claim that the Maya built rockets. It does not demand belief in lost civilizations or visitors from the stars. What it does demand is attention. It challenges the comfortable idea that ancient people only thought in ways we have already categorized. The stone lid remains where it was placed, guarding a king who ruled over time itself. And as long as that image endures, so does the question it poses, quiet, unanswerable, and impossible to ignore. What if history forgot more than we're ready to admit?